Hi everyone, I'm Twisty T and I'm one of the developers on InfiniTea. Today I'm going to be giving you a high-level overview of all of the features and functions that InfiniTea offers. However, while doing so, I'm going to point your attention to this help button down here in the bottom right-hand corner that you'll see on your screen if you're currently navigating. This help button allows you to see context-aware information about whatever it is that you're configuring within InfiniTea. In addition, we have gone ahead and built out some videos for you to watch if you need a little bit more hands-on walkthrough through the features. We recognize that there are a ton of features, and it is very deep and it is very time-consuming, so we wanted to make it as easy as humanly possible for you to get started with InfiniTea. Starting out here, you'll notice once you get logged in, this is the main dashboard where you're taken to, and there are several different options available to you. Configuring settings is where you'll go to configure most of InfiniTea's functionality. Pretty much everything else here is either completely utilitarian or useful for non-admin, non-owner members of your community. For example, viewing the leaderboard or editing the personal rank card for your community is an option available to anyone, regardless of their current status within your community. However, these other platforms, such as analytics, are just for you to view analytics, manage some backups. Data and reporting is a way for you to control all of your application data, your XP and leveling data, or any other data-related things, and view some reports, for example, users being inactive. The support requests panel allows your staff that handle your ticketing systems to come in here and view the current status of open tickets, manage, respond, or reply, archive, or close any of your open ticket cases. This is a complete management platform, and in fact, your users and your staff do not even need to be in Discord. They can do it all directly from here. Whenever a user is not an admin or an owner, they'll see a section down here similar to this where they can view the leaderboard or edit their rank card for your specific community. Hopping directly in here, I will take you briefly through each one of these features and functions, but again, then you'll notice the help section changes based on the context that is available. So I'm going to open this up and leave that there just so you can watch it as I change through these things. The general settings is where you will go to configure features that don't require an entire page or configuration. For example, voice count channel or a member count channel. This is just a simple counter that you see on many different Discord bots. Web access is a way for you to be able to configure who has access to this web panel and what they can and cannot do. Variables are a way for you to define keys with values associated with them and use them throughout InfiniTea. This is a very useful thing. In addition, with the static values, there are dynamic values. So you can create automatically changing member role lists, such as a list of your staff members, a list of particular participants in a game, and so forth. You can do that from here. In addition to that, these values are used heavily in the message builder as well as the form builder, which we'll talk about briefly here in a moment. The message builder is a function where you can create webhook style messages, containers, or embeds. They're not actually embeds, they're actually containers, but you can hop in here and you can see all of the content and create it exactly as you would see it when you send it to Discord. There is a sending and a syncing function for any one of these messages, so anytime you make a change, you can sync it at any point in time. Scheduled messages is a way for you to be able to use some of those message builder functions and schedule repeating messages either as a DM or a channel targeted message. Commands are InfiniTea's take on setting up commands within your community. Unlike a lot of different communities though, unlike a lot of different bots, Commands is a feature within InfiniTea that allows you to create custom content behind a specific alias command, for example, explanation alias or explanation help. This system allows you to be able to also configure permissions and delivery types, so you can deliver either publicly or privately to the users that are using those commands. Translations is a feature where you can set a target language within your community. For example, our community is English, and setting that target language, if anybody ever speaks a different language other than English, it will automatically create a translation thread and translate it, so that way your staff who doesn't speak whatever that other language is can communicate with this person. Spotlight is obviously, well, Spotlight. It's a known feature that is, for the most part, not unique. The only thing unique with InfiniTea is the fact that if a user obtains a certain number of spotlights within InfiniTea, you can give them a special role for completing that achievement. Message sync is a function where you can connect more than one server together. So if you have multiple Discord communities, perhaps you've got two different guilds in a video game that are trying to communicate with one another, or perhaps you've got a PvP event where you want to be able to smash each other and make fun of each other. You can set that up here. It requires both broadcaster and listen to be able to speak with one another and set those codes and everything like that. The roll button is effectively the reaction roll configuration. There is a help video here. I recommend you check that help video out to understand how to use this, because this is just the configuration. Actually using it in Discord requires some extra steps. In addition to that, these roll buttons are usable inside of Message Builder. Onboarding flows are a bread and butter feature for InfiniTea. This feature allows you to control user onboarding in a structured and reliable way. There's an auto mode as well as a manual approval mode. This is incredibly useful for communities where you may have, like, for example, a WoW guild or a Path of Exile 2 guild, where you want to keep track of users that are coming in and users that are leaving your community. This entire feature and function is completely automated. It notifies your staff of user member leaves, member joins, reports by other users, community mod reports, inactivity configurations, as well as withdrawals. So this allows you to sync all of that information and keep your in-game guilds focused on only members of your community. Welcome and goodbye is a welcoming system. The only thing unique here is that you can assign a role when a user joins via a welcome. Top member roles is a rolling leaderboard on a set interval that you define, and users who are on those leaderboards, depending on the size of the leaderboard, will receive a role if you have that configured. You can also filter out members or roles that you do not want involved and set up some custom messages for those particular events. AFK member roles is similar to top member roles, except for in the AFK member roles, you're tracking to see who has not responded within your community within a certain amount of time. This is incredibly useful for bringing back members of your community that may have stepped away for a little bit and you want to check on them. Achievements is a no-brainer here. InfiniTea comes with built-in achievements, but you can also define your own custom achievements, and we have a very unique trigger engine that allows you to chain multiple triggers together to create some really fun and exciting achievements. Rank cards are a no-brainer as well. With our rank card system, you are able to create a button that is attached to the rank card for linking to other channels. In addition to that, our rank card builder is very robust, allowing you to drag elements around, resize, scale, change the color of, add, or remove particular elements from the rank card. In addition to that, we also have this beautiful community library where you can share your designs with other Discord users who have InfiniTea installed. In addition, there is a personal collection where you can create multiple collections, for example, during seasons, during special events, or things like that, and swap to it on the fly. XP rates are one of the more robust things to configure and oftentimes is very confusing to figure out how this works. However, we offer both a basic and an advanced mode for editing this, and we also include a visual editor so you can see how your XP curves change over time and get an estimation of how long it would reach for a user under continuous activity to reach a certain milestone. You can adjust all of this in here, save those changes, and then apply it wherever you need to. So we're trying to actively give you all the tools you need with your leveling and XP system to be able to configure it exactly the way you want. XP drops are an addition to XP rates. XP drops allow you to configure specific drops for channels for these events, and most of the time these are mini game like, so they help drive more activity. However, I do warn that if you use this system, you should be very careful with it because you can create a lot of spam on accident and users don't like that very much. So start slow and work your way up until you hit the sweet spot. Role rewards can be configured per activity type. So you can create an activity or a role reward for a particular activity. In addition, you can also create a shared thing that allows you to link multiple activity types together for a shared configuration. This is useful for people that may be coming from XP bots that have different XP buckets, and they want to keep that similar setup. They can use per activity. However, other XP bots have a single XP bucket, so you can set that up as well. Emberworks is an economy system that allows you to buy, sell, and trade XP boosts globally across the entire InfiniTea network, and you can also mint your own items within your community to help drive people back to your community, because these items, once they're given out, they can only use them within your community. Giveaways are a no-brainer here. I think everybody's pretty familiar with what the giveaways are. You can configure the setup, entry, eligibility, rewards, and your messages. This system makes use of the message builder functionality that we previously mentioned. I encourage you to go to the message builder section and check out that little help button in the bottom right for more information. The LFG system, I'm honestly going to skip over this one for now. Understand that the LFG system that we do have planned, currently it's in a very basic form. However, the LFG system we have planned is meant to be a little bit more stateful, so we're going to be making some changes to this. Dynamic voice is a way for you to create temp voice style channels. However, unlike other bots, we do allow you to integrate with the rank cards and XP systems, set custom names, and in general, we've created this to be a lot simpler than some of those other more complicated bots because frankly, those other features and functions do not matter and they're a waste of time. Ticketing. The ticketing system is similar to the onboarding flows, except for instead of creating onboarding flows with forms, you're creating support requests with forms. This is the form builder that I previously mentioned. You can create your forms directly in here, and as you're creating these forms, you can do different things with them. And also you can configure exactly where these tickets are going to, who's managing these tickets, and a couple of other options. This is pretty straightforward to set up. I encourage you to check it out. The only thing you need is a configuration and a panel. Community mod is a way for your community to moderate while you are away or no staff are available. They can report another user to the community mod and other people can vote on it. This system is entirely anonymized, so reporting users will never be ousted. And people that vote will never have their names shown. The only people that can actually see that activity are the staff members who have admin permissions. Global watch list is a global banning and warning system across the entire InfiniTea network. If you report somebody to this system, then it notifies anybody else on the InfiniTea network. This has saved me a handful of times from just a small 200 servers, particularly when it comes to spammers. Anti-raid is, well, it's anti-raid. There's not much else that I can add to that. Feel free to configure that if you like. The new account age guard is a feature within InfiniTea that allows you to block members who have accounts who are younger than a certain amount of time. This has also saved me countless times, but I do not recommend personally using the ban instead of timeout, because we have had moments where members of our community have returned under new accounts due to lockouts or various other reasons, and the timeout seems to work wonderfully. Logging is very verbose. You can set up logging for a lot of different things within InfiniTea. And we also have our own custom events for InfiniTea that can be set up to log as well. Hopping back out to the dashboard, I'll draw your attention to a couple of other things here. If you're really enjoying InfiniTea and you've made it this far, I would very much appreciate it if you consider subscribing. We've tried to make our subscription packages sensible because we're not trying to get rich here. However, I have spent 5,000 hours developing this thing, so I would appreciate it. You can do that directly from here, from the subscriptions button. You can view what you get. No pressure. You don't have to if you don't want to. If Core is doing exactly what you need it to, don't upgrade. I'm happy you're here anyway. If you're interested in working with us one-on-one for feedback or features or functions, you can do that, and I may consider giving you a license instead. The analytics, I'm going to briefly show you this. So the analytics are broken down into a beautiful editor that allows you to view a lot of different information. You can see patterns within your community, breakdowns of different things, and this information is very useful to help you determine when you should and should not do certain things. The data and reporting, we're going to hop over here to the data and reporting, and you'll see that you can manage all of your applications. You can view all of the application data, application history, all of that directly from here. Let's see, what else do we got? Application actors. You can see who's managing the most applications. So you can see here that it's between me and this other person who's doing most of the work in our application flows. Achievements, you can manage achievements. So if a user particularly claims that they were supposed to have an achievement, or you want to remove achievements, you can do that from here. Inactive members allows you to see a report on members who are no longer active within your community. For example, I know Jendak is 1 week inactive. Member XP and leveling allows you to manage the XP and leveling. And then of course, the most important part probably here is your watch list. You can come in here and see whether somebody was reported and manage that. So if one of your staff members reports someone they should not have reported, you can take action here and remove it from the system. You can only remove reports from within your community, not somebody else's. And then the final thing I'll take you in here to have a look at is the view leaderboard. This is probably one of the more fun features. So you can see and share this link with anybody at any point in time, and you can see the leaderboard for that community. No authentication required. You can filter by overall, by activity, embers, and achievements. And guys, that about sums up the entirety of our overview. I don't want to take this on any further than this because I feel like it's starting to get lengthy and many of you guys are probably already tuned out. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you're enjoying InfiniTea. If you're not yet using InfiniTea, feel free to give us a shot. I'd love to see and hear some feedback. You can visit the feedback hub at any point in time to provide feedback, or hop into our support server at any point in time to get support as well.